Hello and welcome to the Sheep Seats. I'm your host, Matthew, aka Sheep, aka Dark Sheep, and we are here tonight drafting our second live baseball team of the year. And we are already in the draft, so let's just get right into it. We need 3 more people to ramp up the fun, get this going. I was afraid of it starting, so shout out to Raleigh for letting me know how many people were in the draft before I jumped in. So yeah, got in a little bit early, make sure we didn't miss it out. We are wearing the No Sheep shirt tonight, the fantasy football counselor for all of you sheep drafting Royce Lewis out there. That's mostly a joke, but yeah, we got draft firing off. This is working out great. No, we do not need any help. Thank you, friendly chat bot. I assume it's monitoring my microphone. I don't know why it wouldn't be. It's like listening to see. So I did start to put together. You might see a little bit of weird ADP at the top here. I started to put together, excuse me, some top 100 rankings. Still working on it to put out over on Stacking Dingers. You know, we don't need Sam Olsen in any draft. No, thank you. He is an excellent drafter. You will see him pop up here and there. Oh, he's number 2. I'm just completely obvious. What do we got? We got a Boat Town and Recognize, Silly Rabbit. That's our friend Reducing Juice. Noctoran, shout out to you. Been talking to you over at Spike Week a little bit. Thanks for jumping in. TK11, who I still can't remember who it is, but they're in a lot of drafts here. We got Bjorn Masterson. We got Cheese, I don't know, Cheese 24, Skull, and we got Raleigh. Right at the end. We are pick 7. Bjorn's here. Doesn't know if they drafted one without Sam. That could be. ADP is kind of seems to be starting to shake out on some guys. They've got some major risers and fallers. Coming up, I think Tuesday night. Don't know exactly all the details, but Tuesday night, I think we're going to be launching a more of a discussion-based ADP rankings type show over on a new channel. So stay tuned for the details on that. I think Tuma and I are going to start talking about ADP and all that. But tonight we're just drafting, still just drafting off the gut. The Steamer projections are out. The Fangraph projections are out. Nobody else really came out since then. I don't know how. I guess there's been a couple of Zips. I don't need this anymore. A couple of Zips teams released. Been reading through those from Dan Smorsky. I'm gonna pretend like I know how to say his name. All right, pick 7. It is interesting to see Kyle Tucker has passed Jordan Alvarez in ADP. Some concern, always Jordan missing time, but interesting nonetheless. You notice, of course, I've got Carroll at the end of this. Starting out as a joke. Like I said, these haven't been finalized or anything. But we are going to take. We're going to take him. Let's take Corbin Carroll. I think he probably is on the last of these, or on this group of outfielders here for me. But we'll grab him here. We'll have some fun. I'm trying to organizing my ranks by kind of like some position groups. So like here we're hitting the infielder, the first infield tier that I like. We got the usual outfield heavy start. And now these guys at the end, people at the end usually take a couple of infielders. Maybe Raleigh takes a little Philly stack like that. I don't quite have Kyle Schwarber in that first tier, but definitely here I had him in a kind of a mini tier with Trout in my initial setup here. Strider, Cole Go. Definitely two of the top guys in my pitching ranks, although I don't really have them over this group of infielders. If I'm drafting, I'm not going to take them over this group of infielders. Yeah, we're going to get Trey, get an outfielder and an infielder. There's a chance Trout falls. You never know. Love to have him come back to us. Yep, definitely like this. I like this call. I've been doing I've done a couple of like Bryce, Freddie, thin infield builds. Don't hate that, or a Bryce Trey, but I have seen Trey fall into this part of the draft over here, which is interesting. It's gonna be hard to. Maybe you could get a Trey Schwarber over here if somebody's not bumping Schwarber up, but that seems pretty unlikely. So this might be the best Phillies combo you can force, or you can do Harper Trey if you want. So yeah, and we got people grabbing from this second tier of infielders. And then pretty much as far as I got in my rankings was this first tier, or the main tier of pitchers where I want to grab my first pitcher. So I got a big group here. We'll probably get one or two of those in our next pick and start out pretty even across the board. Austin Riley does not make it to the Acuna drafter. Did get that combo once, I think. Pete Alonso, Jose Ramirez. Kind of surprised that people aren't hitting pitcher here. I guess I wish we could sort on ranks. I guess their ADPs are down here. Blake Snell is falling in rising in ADP a little bit slower than I expected. People are still taking him at that cost. Yeah, Raleigh pointing out that Austin Riley has been on the move. Like I said earlier, I definitely did get him over here with Acuna. I have not. An interesting thing to do, I think, maybe it'd be to put, excuse me, push him with a Matt Olson build. That might be an interesting one. Could be that some auto drafters are getting Snell. That is highly likely. Adolis Garcia goes with the Acuna drafter. I'm going to be wrong about Adolis again this year and be sad about it. But I think I have a real hard time taking him over Trout. Maybe that's weird, crazy. I don't know. People seem to be really worried about Trout based on him continuing to fall. But if I'm building, like, I get taking the outfield position there, but I just feel like I'd rather have one of these infielders there, especially taking Acuna first. That's just my idea of building. So we get a couple more pitchers off the board. Gausman, Burns. Have a nice little old fashioned here tonight. got the Christmas tree. Well, my family put a new Christmas tree up today, so that's fun. We're getting close to that. Had an excellent Thanksgiving with my family. Hope you guys all were able to do that. Get together with some family or friends, eat a little too much, drink a little too much. Yeah, Trout going after Michael Harris seems crazy. Crazy. There goes Snell. So our options here are to take one of these infielders that I love, Semien and Devers, and then see what kind of pitcher we get back to us, or take a pitcher now and then take one of these Bo Lindor type infielders. I don't think this is a Yelich build. I'm just going to get my ace, my number one man for the year. We're going to get Zach Wheeler here. Hopefully his ADP does not climb much more past this, because I'll just keep taking him here. And I don't want to take him in the second round. But we'll see what happens with pitching. I know last year we had like Cole and Strider sometimes moving up into this first round after drafts started rolling out. We have not got our friend Bestball Viper to really push up pitchers. We had him immediately jamming all the pitchers last year when drafts open. He's not been in these rooms yet to start pushing up pitcher. So yeah, now we'll see what comes back to us. Would like to get another pitcher here. Don't hate a bulk outfielder like Reynolds or Nimmo. Let's go with Carroll's kind of bulk scoring. Could also take a pitcher, or take kind of scrolling down here. Nolan Jones has really rocketed up. Nick Stevens takes Brian Reynolds. We're going to take a Pablo Lopez here. I thought for a moment there about pairing Nola and Wheeler together, but decided not to. Was also tempted by Bo Bichette there, or Francisco Lindor. I really don't know what to do with Manny Machado this year. I don't know if anybody has any opinion on what they're expecting out of him coming back from elbow surgery. 4 to 6 months. Vast majority could be ready for opening day. This could be a discount on him. Like we saw the point total go down because of time missed. Don't know how old he's getting to be, but could be a concern. Could be a concern. He seems to be, but if he comes out beginning of the season, or starts out beginning of the season and just comes out and hits like Machado, he could be in line for a lot. Like I've sort of said, I have Fernando Tatis pretty high in my rankings, like number 3. So the combo of those two guys could be interesting if you could put them together. Raleigh doesn't really love Machado. Yeah, but as a paired option, definitely could be an option. Goldschmidt, talking about him quick, he's got the old man disease. We'll just call it that. The interesting comparison here between Tatis and Machado. He be missing less time than Tatis did last year, but obviously not exactly the same caliber of player. But we definitely reached that point where Tatis came back last year, and Machado could be back earlier. And what we were saying last year is as we hit that point in the season was, oh, we didn't realize he was coming back this soon. So I know I definitely was anti-Tatis last year with the injury, with the time off, multiple surgeries and all that. I was sort of didn't fit my profile of guys. But like I said, I'm back in on him this year. If I can get him, obviously he doesn't really fall too far. But I think a fully healthy season from him could really be like Acuna light from last year. And that's pretty extreme, but maybe not 40 home runs, but 30 and 30, like a 30 year out of him. I don't know how much he stole last year. Another good thing to look into. Look into how much he sold last year, and maybe having a full season under his belt. Well, most of a season under his belt and a full off season, he could take off more this year with the rule changes. Maybe that little comfort level is back, and he's going a little more. So yeah, so our friend Reducing Juice gets Juan and Machado after we talked about that. I like that. I think our pitching tier is up. We still have one guy left in our tier here, and Logan Webb. Our outfielders are getting sucked up. So we're going to do it. We're going to get our last of that first tier of pitcher. We're going to get a total of 3 pitchers out of our first tier of pitchers that we like, or I like, and kind of hold off now on pitcher. We're going to miss this group for the most part, which I know there's a lot of people high on Kirby this year. I like the chance of, all right, with a full set of innings this year, Peralta could smash at this price. Senga, healthy Fried, Bieber could go to a better team, get more wins, just get a bunch of innings. Dylan Cease could knock down the walks and get on a better team. Definitely an interesting group. Don't know how I'm ranking them yet. I haven't got that down yet. What's up, Michael? Happy Thanksgiving, gobble gobble. I saw you on Twitter were dealing with some fun NBA late swaps tonight. Definitely don't miss trying to play that sport, DFS at least, or season long. Oh, okay. Is this your call? Freed for TJ in 24. Okay. Calling your shot there. I guess I could see it. Let's see. I mean, he's got a good amount of innings. He's 21 and 22 year. Obviously, he missed a bunch of time last year with a couple of different things. It's always the forearm. All right. Jazz lineup is magical tonight. I feel like the Magic lineup should be magical. Anyway, we are going to get boy, do I hate doing this, but we don't get him very often. I don't see him on the board very often. We're going to bite the bullet on this price on Nolan Jones and get that Coors upside. Basically, at this point, I want to get some more of him because I think there's a potential for a hype train there, even more so. Like past some of these infielders and stuff that I like better than him, but we'll see what happens. Definitely a guy I don't feel comfortable clicking now. Projections actually say this tier of outfielder that he's going in is actually kind of nice, kind of matches their underdog points outputs. Absolutely, yeah. We love the Coors guys. They did go cold in the playoffs last year. Those games, we had some Cubs games and we had some Giants games in the playoffs that some of us had stacked up for the playoff weeks, and they didn't really get there either side. Be interesting to see if Colorado signs any reclamation bats this year. There's a certain person that's pretty late in ADP that I think is one of the best values on the board right now. That I don't know. So I started wish casting in my head a Rhys Hoskins to Colorado 1 year deal. I may be crazy there, but if you take a look at their roster, they got right now on roster resource, they have Chris Bryant at first, and Charlie Blackmon at DH. So, and there's a bunch of outfielders, young outfield guys. I don't know. Like I said, I was wish casting it, but Rhys Hoskins to Colorado could make some sense. Mostly, I was trying to think through places, mostly as as part of my bold claims that Rhys Hoskins could potentially outscore Royce Lewis, because that seems to be the guy I'm getting into lots of conversations about. But I was sort of thinking through my head where the best landing spot for Rhys could be. And CJ Cron's not there. Why can't Rhys Lewis be the new CJ Cron? Just saying. All right. Silly Rabbit takes my guy Grayson, who I'm loving at this price right now. We were debating in some Twitter DMs Grayson versus another pitcher. And, interesting. O'Neal Cruz goes here. Nocturne, another guy in the camp of guys I think could produce like Royce Lewis this year in terms of underdog scoring. That's going later, but you're popping him up there above Royce Lewis. I like that. All right. We are going to get another outfielder. We're going to get Jorge Soler. I do think that Soler, I have no idea where he ends up, but let's say he ends up, I don't know, in Atlanta or Boston. I don't know if there's some teams that I think he could fit into that park-wise would be really awesome for him. And obviously, if that one of those things shakes out, he's gonna jump up a bit. It does feel bad this year to be off of Cedric Mullins. We definitely saw that, that awesome 2021 season, followed by a great 2022. and then a real drop off last year. And really, the problem is we saw. For me, is that we saw the playing time drop, the lineup position get worse. So it's as if the team was seeing what he was doing and liking other guys more, or concerned in their own way. Yeah, and we saw him lose at bats to lefties. That's what I was talking about with the playing time. I just was meaning some at bats. So Evan Carter has steamed up here, but I was hoping to get Ozuna to come back to me. I've been missing out on Ozuna. I keep trying to push his ADP, and it's not working. But we're gonna take our second infielder here, and just hope that Yandy Diaz has a little bit of lift somewhere in this season. I do think he has the potential to also return a better points than Royce Lewis. We're just going to keep hammering this, and then Royce Lewis is going to have an amazing season, and everybody's going to laugh at me, and we're going to have lots of fun. I love doing I've been now making dumb picks and talking. I've talked enough on the internet to just sort of enjoy it when you're wrong. Like sometimes, not sometimes. It always does stink when you're wrong, especially really go in on a bit, and then you get off. You're totally wrong on the bit. Yeah, totally with you, Rod. I don't know if I'd say first round value. Maybe in a year or so if he has a great seat. Yeah. But I'm with you that in the idea that grabbing Cruz now where he's at could be awesome once we get to spring and he looks good. Like we could see him rock it up. Definitely beginning of the fourth round. Fifth round. Yeah, a multi-round jump from him if we see him healthy come spring and on the field and making plays. Yeah, and it was a small sample, but we saw him really improve the strikeout stuff that I was initially concerned with his profile, and seeing that improvement potential. I don't think I'll totally fade him. He seems to be settling down a little bit. He's starting to get much more palatable, but at this point, I can't just let. I gotta lean into it because at this point, it'd be boring if I didn't, right? No, he seems like an awesome hitter when he's healthy. And if he was an outfielder, I would be happy to take him in the 60s along with Nolan Jones. Apparently, I sniped Mr. Juice there on Yandy Diaz, but then he took Jordan Walker, who is someone he's the outfield version of the potential that Royce Lewis could have. So taking him here in the hundreds, I love it. Bobby Miller. Reducing Juice gets his young pitchers that he likes. If you see him, I've seen him draft these guys a couple of times. CJ Abrams is a name that I have completely ignored so far. Very interesting to see what he could do. If he can replicate anything of what he did last year. All right, we're going to grab Yuri Perez. because I think he's only going to go higher. This was the comparison. This was the comparison, the Grayson Yuri Perez that Reducing Juice and I were having in the Twitter DMs. I'm concerned about how many starts Perez makes and how much they need to push him this year, compared to what we saw at Grayson at the end of last year and how they were already starting to work him. Push him and work him like a workhorse. So that's my preference. Obviously, Perez has this insane strikeout rate. So basically, I do think that he's going to get a hype train this spring once he starts. Yeah, I was surprised you didn't take him there. You left him for me. Yeah, I think he's going to have hype train once he starts throwing in spring and looks good. I don't know what Miami does with their rotation this year. I do have concerns how much they will need to push him or want to push him. He's still like 20, 21 years old. Grayson is 24. I think I was looking up when I was looking up these guys during our conversation. So for me, it's still Grayson by a mile over Yuri, but I am concerned about a hype train, so I do need to get a little bit of Yuri while I can. I know Nez is a big Yuri Perez guy too. Yeah, like I said, I don't know what they're going to do. They still have, Cabrera. I don't know. We'll see. What's up, Terrence? Welcome. Calling the Trey smash here. I like it. Now that he's comfortable in Philly, he just smashes. Yeah, and I love taking him. If he falls over in this area, it's pretty nice. All right, I did not plan this at all. We got 2 infielders, 3 outfielders. Let's take a look at this outfield pool. It is looking sparse. It is looking thin. Oh, boy. Should we have a little fun? And by fun, I mean have a lot of worry and take a Chris Bryant, Nolan Jones combo? We'll do it. We're going to take a little Coors stack. Oh, boy. It does not feel good clicking on Chris Bryant. I can tell you that. I faded for the most part last year, but the year before, his first year, I was all over it. It is interesting, this group of pitchers, basically like Joe Ryan down to, I don't know if I'm going to include Carlos Rodon in this, but down to Christian Javier. Yeah, this group of pitchers, I think, if you're right in this group, I mean, we saw Blake Snell last year going in this area for a while. Like, if you can pick out a couple of guys in here that really smash, could definitely be quote unquote league winners in this pitching group here. Part of why maybe it's Cole Reagan's in Kansas City. I don't know. Maybe it's Bobby Miller. Maybe Hunter Green has a healthy year and overcomes the park. Yeah, it's hard to forget about the good times, and I think even harder to forget about the bad times. But yeah, if you can pick out these right pitchers in this group, I think you can do really well as the season comes into play. That's why usually in that first tier, I only really like to get 2 pitchers. Normally, we're going a little bit different. and then getting 2 from that bigger blob, hoping we hit on the right one. Yeah, definitely. It's sometimes I feel like I do get stuck though in things like that, in that where I'm grabbing the same position in certain places, and my builds start to feel pretty similar. But I think there is some comfort in it that helps me plan out a draft. So as I'm going, I know who I'm looking for later at which spot, which helps plan and think through the whole draft ahead. Where if you're starting 3 infielders early, you really have to think a little bit more each pick, which is sort of maybe better, maybe worse in that you're going to burn out quicker. I don't know. Don't really know where I'm going with that one. Yu Darvish is an interesting guy at the end of that group too. I'm not going to rule him out from just putting up a bunch of innings and getting strikeouts as he goes. All right, so we are 4-2-4. Pretty typical, not as flat as we were building last week on stream. Pretty typical infield light early because we got that, that whole glut of infielders that score more than outfielders at the end. All right, we are on the clock. There's a couple of mini stacks here that I like to set up. Let's do a Vinny P infield, and then we'll maybe have a guy to put with him as a mini stack later. That outfield group, I do think that if JD Martinez has a healthy season on a decent team, he could really put himself out of that group that he's in. But hard to know as he ages how he's like. He had a good season last year, had some good spike weeks, missed some time. Willie Adames was the other guy I was thinking about there, Vinny or Willie. Hard to set up a Brewers Adames stack if you don't even know if he's going to be on the team when the season starts. Those rumors are out there. Nothing is nailed down. Terrence is making another call here. Trey Turner and Christopher Morel. Definitely a 156 ADP. He's trying out first base. It's interesting. Part of the issue with Morel has always been playing time, because he's pretty streaky. But when he's putting up the home runs, he's scoring well for you. But if he has a little more defensive options, maybe that makes up for when he's down. I don't know. Oh, every draft we see Byron Buxton sitting here at this ADP. Yeah, he's positionless. Talking about Morel. So we have Stanton. We have Buxton. Just don't know what to do with those two guys out here. Sort of in this group of younger guys with potential, like Kerry Carpenter and TJ Friedel. Hard to really buy back in on Alex Verdugo again, just based on him starting to lose playing time against lefties last year too. Hard to say. All right, we are on the clock. Anthony Volpe goes. Will Smith. let's just do it. Let's have some fun. Let's build up the Chris Bryant, Byron Buxton. No one's gonna play more than 10 games in a row stack. Mike has a question here. Michael, is there any fielding position that is easier to or harder to stay healthy at? Yeah, catcher's the number one. And not even that they're going to have major injuries, but one, they're already limited in playing time just because they usually have at least one rest day a week, and then just the the bumps and bruises that you get catching really do have you like miss small spats at games here and there. DH safer. Outfield, I think, is generally pretty safe. More just like soft tissue hammy type stuff that comes up there, or if you're an all out, like part of the Byron Buxton story is how all out of an outfielder he was, and crashing into walls and all that sort of stuff. So there's certain maybe like an outfielder archetype that I would be concerned about. And infielders, they're just throwing, they're reacting and throwing. There's not too much there. And like first base is obviously the least important defensively. That's where they stick the worst defenders. So I think it's pretty safe to say that first base probably has less of an impact on maybe less injury risk there. I don't know. Interesting. I'm sure there's studies out there. Yeah. I think this is kind of a chicken and the egg statement. A lot of teams don't sit their shortstops because basically shortstop has become like a premium hitting position too. And just like if you think about as a kid, who plays shortstop, the best athlete on the team. They're pitching there and they're playing shortstop. Maybe if it's a bigger kid, they're playing first base and pitching. But just in general, the best athletes have funneled toward shortstop. So the ability to play outfield isn't as strenuous. And there's, you see some of the guys, Kyle Schwarber, you see guys that aren't necessarily athletes. So I think it's not that outfield is more of a concern. It's just more of the people that end up in like corner outfield positions. And then center fielders, they're pretty athletic people too, but they're more known for their, often they're known for defense. And they kind of alleviate some of the platoon risk there. All right, we're on the clock. 17 seconds. All right, let's do it. Let's build a little mini Minnesota stack here. I do like Jake Berger. I think his price is great as a last outfielder. I don't know that he puts up the same sort of numbers. I don't know how much a full season in Miami is going to change his hitting numbers, based on the park there being worse for him. But yeah, I definitely think his ADP is pretty awesome. Definitely a guy to work in as your last infielder. I don't know how far I would chase him up. Definitely have to look into him for if he started to rise, how far we feel safe chasing him up. That Miami offense is pretty questionable. I don't know what they're going to do this year. They're losing Soler as of now. He's a free agent. I do think I have not taken him here, but I've been taking him sporadically. We're talking about Miami. I do take, where is he? Jazz Chisholm? He's somewhere. I'm just not seeing him right now. But, oh yeah. 52. He's another guy that, can return a couple rounds of value if he stays healthy and everything like that. All right, we're going to take a reclamation project here at our pitcher for our fifth pitcher. So we got our two risky pitcher picks along with Wheeler, Lopez, Webb. We got Perez, Erie Perez, and Lucas Giolito. Sort of just as a reclamation project. Don't know what to expect from him, but we will see what happens, where he lands. Obviously, he got tossed around to some bad teams. 3 different teams in 1 year is not going to help you establish it when you've been playing bad. Justin Turner, a decent outfielder here, I think, where he's going. Again, another old guy that could just hit a cliff, but the potential for him just to be a solid numbers producer is still there within that bat we saw last year in Boston. Obviously, we would have loved for him to stay in Boston with the Green Monster just giving him extra doubles. But I think that's kind of my concern, is where he's going to end up. If he's going to be platoon, if he's going to have a defensive position, he's going to be DH. I don't know. Yep, and he's betting on himself, as Bjorn's saying here. It was his decision not to go back, which is interesting. Obviously, you could read a lot of things into that. Oh, man, I see Eduardo Rodriguez went right before us. I think I would have rather had him there. Braxton Garrett, another question mark in my head this year. Definitely didn't believe the numbers last year, and they kind of stuck. And there's some changes in his pitch mix. I don't know exactly what. Those are the sort of things I listen to other smarter people talk about and mentally note them. But definitely an interesting guy in that Miami rotation that we've talked a bit about tonight. Starling Marte keeps falling. Sam Olsen takes him. He's got a bunch of risk here at outfield in Varsho, Ward, and Marte, but a bunch of upside on all 3 guys. Oh, and Teoscar. I sort of love this build. I mean, this is anytime I look at a Sam Olsen team, I always be like, oh, I like that. It's kind of gross, but I like it. He seems to always have some great picks. Even a Paul Goldschmidt here. And that combo, the Arenado Goldschmidt combo, I love it. All right, I see Noctorin there takes William Contreras, who was the guy I was thinking about pairing with Willie Adames when we were thinking back a while ago. But we are going to grab him before he's gone. We're getting our 6th outfielder here, and then probably stopping. We're going to build this out of Bryant, Buxton. One of those guys stays healthy enough this year to get us off the ground. But we're going to make a little mini stack with MJ Melendez and Vinny Pasquantino. Definitely love that MJ this year is an outfielder. obviously, or maybe not obviously, but I don't know how many of you were following Melendez last year. He definitely did not have the season expected. He really struggled. He did fall down that lineup a bit, but yeah, sitting like his last note here is sitting against a lefty. But he's got an outfield eligibility now. And it's not like Kansas City has somebody knocking on the door to take his at least chance to start this year. So, he has a good season. Vinny comes back and just puts up a nice contact numbers. And, I don't think outside of Bobby Witt, anybody in Kansas City is going to put up a lot of counting stats. But at a relatively cheap mini stack, it's definitely something I've done a couple of times. All right, so we are 5, 4, 6 in this build. Don't feel like I need to take any specific position here. We are seeing a total Wander Franco fade, which is something that I'm certainly doing, but we will see what happens. All right, Kelenic goes there. All right, let's keep it. Let's stack a little bit more than I have been, and let's build a little Tovar into our Colorado stack. Definitely don't want to go over 4 right now, as we're so far out from the season. We don't know final lineups. We don't know who's going to be batting, even at the start of the season. Maybe Ryan McMahon was a safer pick there, but definitely more upside in Tovar. Maybe not upside is the right word, just because he's kind of a sketchy hitter to begin with. But yeah, I know I was on him last year as a guy who could be leading off in Coors and later in the season, and we saw some of that, but the results really weren't quite there. I think he is still pretty young though. I don't know. We will see what we got. All right, we got 4 more picks. We're probably stopping at 6 outfielders. Yeah, definitely want to get to 7 infielders with Turner and then waiting to Yandy Diaz. We'll see if we go 6 or 7 pitchers with these risky guys that we grabbed here. Maybe we do end up at 7, most likely 7, 7, 6 by the time we're done. But we'll see what happens. Where we get to, see if we can get any weird picks here at the end. Definitely seems like these last rounds, my last couple of drafts, I haven't seen any super surprising names. And I haven't really found anyone super surprising that I've been pulling out. Definitely some digging into the player pool right now could really potentially, if you want to make some super giga brain predictions, you could maybe come up with some fun names. But we'll see what happens where rosters shake out. We have so much time. We have so much time. So much is going to change between now and 2 months from now, even not even, at the beginning, end of January. So much will change. Oh, we are on the clock. All right, we're going to take, I don't love it. We're going to take another, less of a reclamation project than Giolito, but Stroman. Biggest problem with Stroman is this 140 number that we've seen the last couple of years for me. And obviously the it's not like he's a big strikeout guy. But we have these quality start numbers that if he's on a decent team. Another guy that decided to bet on himself and probably would have been in a really good situation there if he had stayed in Chicago. So definitely have some question as to what exactly he was thinking and why he wanted to get out. They definitely showed last season that they wanted to spend, adding Dansby Swanson and Cody Bellinger, and and then for the most part succeeding. I think at some point during last year, people wanted to believe that they were a better team than they actually were. And obviously Justin Steele was pitched out of his mind last year. So like, I don't think they underperformed. Like there's that point where they were peaking that sort of led people to believe that when they fell that they underperformed overall. But to me, I was sort of, if you take the whole season, I think they performed to what you would have expected based on what they had put together in the off season. But they set themselves up for this year actually pretty well. So just don't quite understand what Stroman was thinking, but I think that's a lot of things that Stroman does. You can kind of say that about. All right, we got a big group of infielders here. Big group of infielders, some outfielders. I don't know if Nick takes Benintendi. I haven't gone back to the Benintendi well this year. I was all over him last year. Again, remembering the guys that hurt us in the past. All right, we got 12 seconds. All right, we're going to take a Josh Bell. And I know it's unlikely that Soler goes back to Miami, so that's not really a thought. But we'll see what happens between now and 12 picks away. I don't know if anybody else is going to steal Burger, but maybe we make a little mini Burger Bell sandwich. Is a burger a sandwich? Is a hot dog a sandwich? These are the hard-hitting. Is a Bell a sandwich? I don't know what I'm saying. I'm running out of things to talk about, as you can tell. Ty France goes. There's another rock. I have no idea what Seattle's doing. I really feel bad for Julio Rodriguez. I mean, obviously, we saw a real strikeout problem come up for Eugenio Suarez. Yeah, there we go. Is a Taco Bell a sandwich? That was the joke. Man, I missed it. But no, so Seattle trades Eugenio Suarez to the Diamondbacks, and they lose Teoscar. Oh, of course, Reducing Juice steals our burger, our juicy burger. But Seattle, I don't know what to think about what they're doing. They got to be setting up for something more, because if you look at that lineup, it's Julio Rodriguez and it's Cal Raleigh. Yeah, I totally believe you there, buddy. Yep, sure, whatever you say. But no, right now it's hopefully Ty France is something again, and it's Cal Raleigh, and it's like I guess they're assuming that JP is the same sort of hitter that he was last year. I don't know. his ADP certainly doesn't reflect that right now. Anybody else believing it in the fantasy community? 19 home runs. That's nuts. I don't know if he did some off-season training, some bat speed stuff or what. Really hard to believe that he can do that again. I don't know. Gavin Lux goes there. All right, we are going to grab our last infielder. Probably here, and then find a weird pitcher to take. I don't love taking Salvador Perez. Really worried about him. Eat more and more each and every year as he gets older. Tim Anderson is interesting there, but we are going to take. Where did he go? We're going to take a Nolan Gorman. I think. That would make sense. I don't know how they're gonna pay for him. Yeah, maybe that's what they think, that they're not gonna have to pay a lot. They're calling some Ichiro favors or something. I don't know. Probably think that might be the answer. Put him in that lineup, and you don't need anybody else. So I don't want to give it away, but has anybody been able to make anybody out there watching, has anyone been able to put together a Ohtani Freddie Freeman build yet for that potential Dodgers goodness? Will Smith losing DH at bats if Ohtani signs. Yeah, I'm definitely taking less Will Smith this year than last year. I'm actually kind of down on the Dodgers overall. Their price sort of caught up to where I wanted them, or I was getting them last year at a better price, which has made me not want to take them, which could be a big mistake on my part. But yeah, absolutely a tough room. Catchers are tricky, and for that reason, I've stayed away from Yander Diaz so far. I don't know. Houston, another team I'm not really getting to as much. Their prices are more in line with what I would expect them to be. I'm not seeing them as a value as I was last year. Yeah, definitely a good point. We did worry about that last year with JD. I still think Ohtani ends up with the Dodgers. They wouldn't have done what they did all of last year if they weren't going to sign him. I think it's them, or I mean, people are saying the Cubs. I don't know. I think it's that, or like a surprise Giants signing. All right. We're trying to get a weird pitcher here for our last pick. I think last we took JP Sears. All right, we're gonna time out here, so we're gonna take my old standby. Somebody took Christoph Sanchez before you could take him. I'm taking boring old Kyle Gibson. You guys can chase all your fancy Brian Woos and Christoph Sanchez. I'm taking Kyle Gibson in St. Louis. Good pitching park. Guy's just going to get me some innings, or he's going to be hurt. Definitely a boring last pick. but just sort of a filler guy. Really going against what Mike said earlier was drafting too safe. We're going to do it. We're going to draft pretty safe. Let's see what. Ooh, we get a Kenta Maeda potentially signing in Detroit. If the rumors are to believe, don't hate that. Little sneaky Chase Silseth, Ryan Pepio, and SGL, Sam Olson, getting an interesting picture there. Let's see. We got Stevenson with an aggressive pitcher build. Blake Snell, Aaron Nola, Mitch Keller, Carlos Rodon, Jacob deGrom. Whew. Definitely interesting group of pitchers there. Pretty thin. No idea if we even get deGrom back in this contest in a meaningful time. All right. Let's see. What do we got going on here? We got our draft. It's done. I guess we could go over it real quick. Why don't we do that? We ended up with a 7-7-6 build, my most common build. Probably will be all year. Zach Wheeler, Pablo Lopez, Logan Webb, Yuri Perez, Lucas Giolito, Marcus Stroman, Kyle Gibson. A real lineup there, which I'm completely fine with. At pitcher, infielder, Trey Turner, Yandy Diaz, Vinny P, Carlos Correa, Ezekiel Tovar, Josh Bell, Nolan Gorman. Nolan Gorman doesn't get lost very often, but Nolan Gorman does occasionally. Outfielder, Corbin Carroll. Suck it to all you who say I'd never draft Corbin Carroll. Don't like him. Corbin Carroll, Nolan Jones at a extreme ADP. We got a couple of young guys. See, I'm getting out of my comfort zone a little bit. Or then we get a bunch of old risk. Jorge Harris Soler, Chris Bryant, Byron Buxton. I can't even pronounce names now, so it's time to be cutting this off. And finally, MJ Melendez. Thank you, everyone, for showing up, filling the draft. Appreciate you all. Stay tuned for Tuesday for the potential first Stacking Dingers stream show with Tuma and I talking through some ADP stuff. And then we'll be back here drafting sometime later next week. Everyone have an awesome Sunday. Hopefully win some football money so you can lose it here in baseball.